Hi, welcome to your mat. This will be a gentle restorative practice where we take it slow and easy. It's wonderful after a strenuous hike, a long run, or any sort of endurance activity. So we'll begin by coming into hero's pose. You'll take the feet wide of the hips and then sit the hips in between the heels. Now you may need to sit on a block here or roll up a blanket. We're looking to stretch the top of the thighs, the top of the feet, and bring some positive stress to the knees. Once you've established your shape, take a long, deep breath in and elongate your spine, lifting the crown of the head towards the ceiling as you settle the shoulders down your back. Now we'll be here for some time, about 3 to 5 breaths. And within this span of time, just notice the various thoughts and sensations that are presenting themselves. And rather than manipulating them or correcting them, just observe. About 3 more cycles of breath. And maintaining the shape, closing down the eyes, bringing your hands to heart center, and without visually looking at your body, how does the body feel? How does the lower body, the shins, the calves, the thighs, the heart, moving to the upper body, the shoulders, the neck, the palms. And set an intention around the way that you feel, cultivating an inner spark, an inner ease. Once you've settled on an intention, go ahead and release the hands, open up the eyes, and we'll make our way out of this shape. Very slowly, you'll come out of your shape, come into a tabletop position. If it feels good to straighten out one leg and then the other, maybe rocking back and forth on the ball of the foot. Remember to do both sides. And coming into a tabletop position, equal weight distribution between the palms and the knees. Dip the heart low and lift the crown of the head and tailbone up towards the sky. As the ribs pull away from one another in the front of the body, the shoulder blades draw towards the spine and the back of the body. Then rounding up, the opposite action is going to happen. The shoulder blades are going to spread wide under the armpits as the front of the ribs draw together and hug up the front part of the heart and the inner part of the lungs. You'll cycle through a few cat-cows, undulating the spine, just beginning to work up. Wake up through the structural core of the body. One more round. And we'll meet in a neutral tabletop. The right leg will extend out. Flexing through the heel, reaching long through the left hand. From the shoulder, spiral the upper arm out. Now lengthen from upper body to lower body. You'll lower the right knee down, come into a modified side plank, turn and open up. Left arm extends up towards the ceiling. Now rotating the arm, opening up to widen the span between the shoulders. I like to bring pressure through the outer edge of my left foot, then lean the lower body forward and spiral the upper body back. We'll take large circles with the arms, circling up and around, 1 or 2 in each direction. And we're looking for that equal weight distribution on the grounded points of the body, the palm, the knee, and the foot. Coming back to a variation, lifting both left leg and left arm up, and then coming back to a tabletop position. Extending long through the left leg and right arm. Spiral the upper arm bone out, the lower leg bone up. Reach upper body away from lower body. And continue to find a nice fluid breath moving through tabletop into that modified side plank. Modified side plank, roll the upper arm out. If you did so on the other side, find a grounding through the outer edge of the right foot and circle the arm 1 or 2 times in each direction. And feel how the reach away from the center plays into the tug and the pull along the tissues on the front side of the body as well as on the back side, tops and bottom of the body. You'll reach right leg, right arm forward. Core will begin to engage. Tabletop. Tabletop to downward facing dog, lifting up the hips, finding an equal weight distribution between the palms of the hands and the contact points in your feet. Spreading that weight from inner palm to outer pinky and big toe mound to baby toe mound. Settle in on a breath. Begin to bend the right knee, dipping the right hip down, slightly spiraling the sternum over to the left. Coming back through center, dipping down through the left knee, spiraling the sternum over to the right. Now with your breath, you'll begin to sway from side to side, swirling the lower body and twisting it up and over to the other side. About 1 more cycle of breath through each of these rotations or swivels. We'll come into a downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, lower the knees to the earth. Walk the hands forward and come into a puppy dog pose. Resting the forehead down. Equal weight distribution leads to healthy movement. Palms of the hands, forehead, knees, tops of the feet, all carry the load of the body evenly. The breath begins to navigate its way through the body,
We get feedback from our tissues. What's tender, what's tight, what needs lengthening, what needs a little bit of support. Coming back up through a tabletop, reaching the left arm forward, right arm forward, left leg back. Tabletop into modified side plank. Left arm lifts, left leg extends. Now spiral the sternum up towards the sky and continue to lengthen back through the arm and the chest as you reach forward with the left leg and left hip. You're pulling yourself in two opposing directions. You'll come back through center. Find that on the opposite side. Right leg lifts, left arm extends, spinal extension, working on some back stabilizing strength. Bringing hand down to that modified side plank. Right arm reaches up and out. Carry the right foot back and then lean and rotate the chest up towards the sky as you lengthen out through the right top of the foot and allow that to translate all the way up through the hip, through the side bend. Coming back through center. Downward facing dog. Bending those knees, coming into a deep bear-like shape, hovering those knees, turning on a little bit through the thighs, working out any of that fatigue, any of that ache from that long endurance run or hike or any activity. Taking a full cycle of breath in and out. Lowering the knees down to the earth, stepping the right leg forward, bringing the right hand to the inside of the right foot and spiral open through the left arm. So we're in a variation of side angle pose down on our knees. You'll use the outer edge of the right arm to continue to open up through the inner groin of the right leg. Moving into reverse. Upper body. The inner left groin will hug in. The torso will lengthen up and back. You'll come forward to a low lunge, pivot on to the knee, that soft part of flesh right above the kneecap, for a long, elongated lunge pose. Then bring both hands to the inside of the foot and come down onto the forearms or stay up on the arms. Arms can stay straight. Now heavy through the thigh bone of the back leg, through the hip, through the ribs. And fall back into that easeful breath, supportive breath. Coming back up onto the arms, you're going to bring the hands to the inside or maybe the outside of the right foot, and then just bring your hips down to the mat. We're in somewhat of a pinwheel shape here. You're going to walk the hands back and then taking that left hip, reaching it forward to get a nice opening again through that top part of the thigh. Now close your eyes, because it doesn't matter what your shape looks like, it's what your shape feels like. So we move into a proprioception awareness of the body and an introception experience of those sensations as we breathe and draw the attention inward. You might notice the more you draw the hip forward, the more sensation, the less sensation. You can maybe move it back and forth so it's not static. It's really tuning into the wisdom of your body and listening to what it needs and where to back off. Let's find 2 more cycles of breath. And then we'll walk the hands back forward, coming into a pigeon pose, lifting the chest up high, extending up through the heart, finding a gentle back bend, and making your way into pigeon. Any variation of the arms, but a nice equal weight distribution through the upper and the lower body. So we're just not collapsing into the right side, but we're intentionally bringing some load over to the left. Find 3 or 4 more cycles of breath here. You'll begin to make your way out, drawing the left thigh up to the right foot, side bending up and over to the left hand side. So the weight's anchored in my feet and my shin, giving me a nice grounding, rooting to lift up and out along the right side body. Bringing that right hand down. The left leg will now extend straight. Right arm will reach up and reach for the outer edge of the ankle or the outer edge of the foot. And melt the chest down towards your knee. About 3 to 5 cycles of breath. Exploring the proprioception and interoception of the body. Maybe closing the eyes to take the visuals and the distractions away momentarily. Then make your way back up. You'll take that right leg and bring it to the inner part of your right hip. We're moving into lotus pose. If this is too much, just crisscross in the front. Then the right leg is going to come on top. And again, finding that nice tall spine we did in the beginning of the practice, you're just going to teeter the weight from side to side, forward and back. And no sheer, sharp shooting pains through the knees. And we'll hold here for a few cycles of breath. Just to recenter, recalibrate, and reconnect to your intention you're wishing to cultivate. And then if it feels good for you, I'll offer you to bring the knees up, lift the hips up, and drop the head back. And slowly coming out, extending the legs forward. Bringing the knees around, We'll make our way back into downward facing dog. Healthy range of motion, equal weight distribution through the body. Just welcoming that comforting sense as you settle into your downward facing dog for one more cycle of breath. Then lower the knees down to the earth. You'll step the left leg forward, coming into the lunge, bringing the left hand, my right and lefts are getting mixed up today, on the inside of that foot and opening up to a variation of side angle or extended side angle. Hugging in the right inner groin as you continue to open and lengthen through the left. The left arm is the stability, so the left knee doesn't collapse in. And then reverse it, continue to hug in through that back leg, heavy down and lengthen out through the tailbone as you lift the torso away, connecting to your breath that works and supports you. And then bringing the hands to the inside of the left foot, coming to the top part of the right knee for a runner's lunge. We'll be here for about 5 breaths to come into a variation or a shape that you're feeling the change and sensations generate in your body. And restoring the body after a long endurance run or a hike. Tissues, some will begin to contract, some will begin to release and lengthen. Just nourishing the body with our intent as well as our breath. Coming back up. Then bringing the hands to the inside or outside, we're going to come onto that left hip. The hands will come behind and you'll lift the right hip up and bring it back down. And eventually come to that place where you feel the most length and relief through the right leg. And we'll stay here for about 3 more cycles of breath. So instead of me cueing you exactly where you need to go, it really becomes a self-exploration of what the body's wisdom is asking for. And then directing your focus there. Bring the hands back forward. Coming into pigeon pose. Bringing some more weight over to that right hand side. Acknowledging any differences from one side to the other. And take these next 5 cycles of breath just to explore and notice in your body. What is happening? Are you releasing into the stretch or drawing away from it? Then making your way out, you'll bring that right leg forward. Anchor down through the feet for a side body stretch up and over to the left. When we tend to run a lot or hike a lot, we're often doing it on unstable surfaces, uneven surfaces. So sometimes it can agitate or fatigue the muscles in the lower back. So just notice if that's true for you, and if these side bends help to bring and restore some of those tissues as you lengthen up and away from the spine, the grounding of the hips. Lowering the arm down, you'll extend the right leg forward. The left hand will come to the ankle or the outer edge of the foot. The chest melts down towards the top of the thigh. Just ease back into the breath. Making your way out. Moving into lotus pose. Remember, crisscross applesauce. If lotus is not in your practice, the right foot will come to the crease of the left hip, left leg on top. Side to side, rocky motions forward and back, maybe circles. How does that added pressure of the feet, bringing the thigh bones down and out, how does that translate into sensations in your body? And what restorative intention did you set? And can you reclaim right here, right now? You can stay here, bring the hands behind the back, lift the hips up, send the gaze back. Find a cycle of breath. Lower the hips down. Release the legs out, stretch them out momentarily. And then circle yourself back around, coming into a tabletop. The right arm will reach up for thread the needle. Left arm come to the low back, to the inner thigh. Option to extend that left leg out. Continue to spiral the chest up. And about 2 more cycles of breath. Bringing the left leg in, left arm comes down, right arm unwinds. We'll open up one more time to that gate pose, extending and reaching in opposite directions, leaning and spiraling. Chest up and around, and the lower body down. Tabletop. Reconnect to the breath. Left arm is going to extend up. Thread the needle. Option to bring the right hand to the hip. Bring that right leg up. Spiral the sternum towards the ceiling. continue to breathe. Bringing the right knee in, right arm down, unwinding through the left arm, coming into that gate pose. Now the breath is traveling freely, unaffected or by any tightness within the body. Tabletop position. We'll come back into hero's pose, sitting the hips in between the heels, finding that nice tall spine, and just notice if there's any relief through the lower body, some relief through the low back, maybe through the shoulders as well as the neck. About 2 to 3 more cycles of breath. Coming out, come down onto our back. Slowly lower all the way down. Drawing the right knee in. Rocking the body from side to side. Taking that right knee out. We'll come up and over for a twist. 3 to 5 breaths here. The ribs are going one direction, the pelvis is moving in the other, and the breath is evenly distributed through the body. Slowly drawing out that exhale, coming back into center, hugging that right knee in, and extending it long as the left leg draws into the chest. You can take the left leg from side to side. Feel as though you're stirring that femur bone in the socket of the hip. Anywhere it's tight or grippy, maybe hold for another cycle. And twist. That was a good one. Some nice snap, crackles, and pops. Three to 5 breaths. A long drawn out exhale brings the left knee in. Both legs will extend out with a slight. Bringing the legs slightly further away from the hips. Nice and wide so the toes can flop out, the inner heels lift towards the ceiling or point towards the ceiling, and the arm bones spiral out. And we'll rest in final Shavasana to observe the effects of our practice.
allowing the body time to restore, to rejuvenate. Then bringing a little bit of movement into the feet. Maybe up to the knees and the thighs and the hips and the low back and the ribs. Just teetering that weight from side to side. Letting it translate all the way up to the back of the skull. You'll make your way into a fetal shape. Taking one final pause. To recalibrate, to refocus, and to regain clarity upon your intention and how you want to walk back into your moment. When you're ready, you'll make your way up to your seat. Eyes can remain closed, your gaze is heavy, drawing the hands to the heart space. And we'll seal in the practice together with 3 breaths. Exhale out your air. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more silent rounds. Bowing the head to the heart, sealing in practice with light love, gratitude, and grace. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this gentle, restorative, replenishing practice. I hope to see you on your mat soon.